I'm sorry, say that again.
Insurance Services Department, who will be presenting?
Insurance, I do have Shonovan Dale and Mr. Harlem Charlie.
Gashina, and I believe Mr. Dale would be during the risk management safety loss.
Correct.
Okay, employee benefit.
Chair,
Employee
This is-
benefits.
this is Yolanda Ciccarello. I'm the supervisor for the employee benefits program, and I'll be presenting. Thank you.
Gashina, other workers' compensation, Sean. Mr. Arvizo.
That'll be Casey Sloman.
Gashina, they're all on the call right now. Okay, Gashina, let's move to Ms. Johnson, Jalissa Johnson.
Good morning, sir. I'm sending the email right now.
Gashina, thank you. Peggy, let the committee know once you receive that email. Then we'll continue on.
Chair Hemio, I've seen the signature on those legislations. Can that suffice?
Okay, I believe Ms. Johnson has completed, so you received an email. So with that, we do have a co-sponsors. Delegate Amber Kinas-Bakrati will be co-sponsoring this. So with that, Peggy, if you would read the legislation to the record.
Budget and Finance Committee members, this is a proposed standing committee resolution assigned to the Budget and Finance Committee, 24th Navajo Nation Council, 4th year 2022, introduced by Jamie Hinio, prime sponsor, Amber Kinesba, co-sponsor, and Seth Damon. Tracking number 0141-22, an action relating to the Budget and Finance Committee approving and recommending to the Budget and Finance Committee the fiscal year 2023 budget for the General Services Division, Insurance Services Department, Risk Management, Safety, Loss Control, Employee Benefits, Workers' Compensation, and related matters to be included in the Navajo Nation's FY 2023 comprehensive budget. Exhibit A is a table, so FY 2022 general fund budget. The total is $67,023,807. The proposed general fund budget is $85,565. Indirect cost fund, $178,723. Personnel lapse fund, $4,819. No external funds cash match. Proprietary fund, $68,541,606. Fiduciary, there's none. Special revenue internal, there's none. Special revenue external, there's none. For a total of $68,810,713. Exhibit B is the comparative summary, and it totals $85,565. Exhibit C, those are blank. Exhibit D and E, there's all blank. The memo from the Legislative Council, and then there's no comments on the internet public review. That concludes the reading. And then have you all taken the oath yet?
This is Shonovan Risk Management. No, I have not.
No, I have not. This is Oliver.
Shemayaja, I have not either. Employee benefits.
Okay, could you all stand and raise your hand to the square and then state your name for the record?
Peggy, also Mr. Harlan Charlie.
Go ahead, Shonovan. You want to state your name for the record, please?
Yes, Sean Dale.
Thank you. Go ahead. Shuja,
Yeah.
This is Emmanuel Charlie.
Shuja, go ahead and state your name for the record, please.
Yolanda Chicarello with Employee Benefits.
Okay, thank you. Harlan, go ahead.
This is Emmanuel Charlie.
Can you state your name for the record? Okay, you did. And then go ahead, Mr. Arvizo.
My name is Oliver Arviso.
Okay, do you all swear to tell the truth in the testimony you're about to give? And anyone else too that's going to be speaking to this budget, I should say that first. And is there anyone else first that needs to also state their name for the record that will be providing testimony on these budgets today?
I
Okay,
think Casey Sloman, she's not on the call, I think.
okay. So do you all swear to tell the truth in the testimony you're about to give?
Yes.
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 Mr. Arvizo?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. May be seated.
Appreciate you, Peggy, for the oath here, and then we'll continue with our business. We do have a co-sponsor. Though with that, is there a motion? Committee members, Budget and Finance Committee.
Chair Henry, I'll make the motion. This is Delegate
motion.
Crotty.
Motion by Shananta, Delegate Amber Knessbach-Crotty. Is there a second?
Delegate Yellowhair. Delegate Brown, I'll second.
Shananta, Delegate Jimmy Yellowhair, second. So we do have a motion second on the floor for legislation 141-22. With that, let's move forward to opening remarks by the co-sponsor, and then we'll go defer to Office of Management and Budget. Shananta, Delegate Amber Knessbach-Crotty, you have the floor.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Chair Committee members. And I do understand the types of emergencies that are happening out in our community. So if we could just take that into mind, but still do our work here in Budget and Finance. We'll present to you this legislation from the Office of General Services, 0141-22. This is a legislation recommending the fiscal year 2023 budget. And I do have our agents on the line. And I would ask for OMB if you could provide the budget and performance summary reports. And if our staff can resend that out to the committee or let us know when that was emailed out. After the OMB summary report, we'll move to the insurance service program, risk management, safety loss control, employee benefits, workers' compensation program, and then we'll move on to the discussion with the committee. Thank you, Chair. So I'll move on to OMB. You could provide the summary report. Thank you.
Madam Pro Temp Chair and Budget and Finance Committee, this is Nanette Francisco with OMB. I'll be reading in Darlene's report for her. This is the Navajo Nation Budget and Finance Committee Fiscal Year 2023 budget hearing for the Division of General Services Insurance Programs. Table of contents. You have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We'll go through each one of these. A, you have your FY 2023 fund type budget summary. General Services Insurance Program Fiscal Year 2023 budget summary by fund type. You have the first set of group of programs. They're the general fund totals. I'll be reading in the general fund total for fiscal year 2022, it's $90,007. The proposed general fund for FY 2023 is $85,565. Indirect cost is $178,723. Personal lapse fund is $4,819. Proprietary 0, fiduciary 0, special revenue internal 0, special revenue external 0, giving you a total of all general funds, $269,107. Going to the next set of group of programs, you have your proprietary funds. For FY 22, you have $66,933,800. Your proposed general fund amount for FY 2023 is zero, indirect cost is zero, personnel lapse fund is zero. Your proprietary amount is 68,541,607. Fiduciary zero, special revenue internal zero, special revenue external zero, giving you a total of all proprietary funds 68,541,607. And you have the grand total of all funds for FY 2022, 67,023,807. Proposed for a general fund for FY 2023 is 85,565. Indirect costs 178,723. Personal lapse fund 4,819. Proprietary 68,541,607. Fiduciary is zero. Special revenue internal zero. Special revenue external zero, giving you a total of all funds 68,810,714. Going on to B, you have your FY 2022 third quarter budget status report. This is as of June 30th, 2022. Again, these are broken out by general funds and proprietary. I'll read your general fund total. For original budget is $263,289. Revised $297,009.08. Your actual $147,204.41. Encumbrance $5,223.30. Budget available $144,581.37. That gives you a percentage expense of 51.32. Going on to the next set of business units, you have proprietary funds. The total amount is for the original budget is $66,984,178. Budget revised $66,744,076 or $76.03. Your actual $12,746,319.35. Encumbrance $244,052.23. Budget available $54,753,704.45. Percent expended is 19.18. And there's two notes at the bottom. Single asterisk means the program is under expending by 65% or less. Double asterisk is overexpending by 85% or more. And C, we'll go on to tab C.
Morning, Madam Pro Temp and members of the committee. Going on to C, third quarter performance assessment report for Division Insurance Department. There are 5 business units. They are all above 2.0, the average.
Excuse me. Can you speak louder, please?
Third quarter program performance assessment scores for Division of General Services. Insurance Services Department, there are 5 business units. They are all above 2.0 for third quarter. The average score for Division of Social Services Insurance Department is 2.69. Going on to D, third quarter plans of operations status report. They are all up to date. Going on to E, the condition of appropriation legislative concern report. There's none.
Okay, going on to tab F. There is no external funds for this division. And then tab G, there is no single audit for this division. That concludes OMB's report. Thank you.
Thank you for the OMB report. Chairman Henio, I'll defer back to the committee if there's any questions regarding the report. Thank you.
Chair Hinio, are you still on the call? I believe Chair Hinio's call dropped. Do you want to designate someone to take his place in case he's having trouble with his call?
Set it as sponsor. This is Delegate Crotty. Could staff let us know how many BNF members are on the calls? First, to make sure we have quorum, and then second, to select a pro tem to assist.
Okay, I'm back. I lost signal. My internet went down for a little bit. I finally came back on. Can you hear me, Peggy?
Yes, thus
Yeah.
far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members on the call.
Kashina, I just when I was going to say that, is there any questions for OMB? My internet went out. So OMB finished their report. Committee
Chair Hinio, you're not coming through. Would it be better to go ahead and designate a pro tem until you can get a good signal? Members of the committee, it seems like he's having technical issues with his phone. Is it possible that someone could volunteer to be pro tem during this time?
Delegate Begay.
Koshisha, go ahead.
Good
Peg-
morning. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Sunanda. I'm back on the line again. My internet keeps dropping here at home. Continue on.
Okay, Chairman Henyo, we were at the point where you're asking committee members if there's any questions for OMB report. Chairman
Okay, sure.
Henry, I'll defer back to you. Thank you.
For helping out. Delegate Elmer P. Begay, did you have a question for Office of Management Budget?
Back to Chair Hinio. I'm not sure at this time, during the time, the past years, with the Navajo Nation offices and programs, that as a whole Navajo Nation, there's a lot of challenges that we faced. That time, offices they got closed, and some of them were still open, and some of employees were not working, and some employees that were working. We didn't even know as a Budget Finance Committee, as a oversight for the whole Navajo Nation budget. So I didn't really understand which department and which employees were still on the call, and they were still employed. They never did really to believe or they were on duty and for a long time now. So I wanted to know I know that some employees they got hazard pay and special pay, and at the same time, there's some people that were some programs out in the direct service, like out in my area and at the southwest part of the reservation, out to Loop. bird stream and the areas, the very other remote areas. They never really got compensated for that. So people in the Wundra area, they got paid on this. About this case, with this budget, OMB budget the program budget wanted to know how many the employees are considered to be exempt and non-exempt, and those who are eligible for any special pay or any hazard pay. So right now, the programs are still requesting for that. It's Opera funding. So how do we know that they have plans that they're going to be challenging? So what is the department's with this budget? What kind of plans do they have going through this again? They will kind of be recovering. What's their plan on the whole issue of this pandemic and going out of it and going forward to recovery? Either employees still going to be on, most of them are they'll be on calls, or I should wonder are they on some of these employees are they going to be on like a remote? Why they're going to be calling from maybe from home and things like that. But us, maybe that's something that we would want to know as a budget finance committee, because we oversee the whole Navajo Nation budget. And at the same time, people, I think they still need help. At least Adam say about this, the overall, I don't know how we could get all this information, how the plans of all these different programs we have. And that's up on this case, because right now there's understanding, it's really frustrating. They're not on the line, but this is overall saying that some programs are still. And there's a phone number that you have to call this number, and at the same time they'll say that you can call business first, you call PD double call, police department double call, police. They have their backlog. People come in and tell you that when you have to go over there and look at the just like for yesterday, the behavioral health. Part of behavioral health is like that because I call over there. It's this recording thing, yeah. For the past 2 weeks, it's been like that. So how late as at least in this one case this is just something that I've been thinking about it. So I just wanted to share this with you. I don't know how we would get as a budget and finance committee overseeing the whole Navajo Nation budget. Yeah, that one this case the challenges that we will receive from the data. Chair, I just wanted to express that. Thank you.
Kashina, there was really I didn't hear no question to OMB on their report on the Division of General Services. Mostly it's a commentary regarding comments aimed at the controller's office. And I think early yesterday morning we entertained the office of the controller budget, and I feel that maybe we'll have them on the agenda again, and you could ask that same question when the controller gives a report. But this is on the Office of Management Budget's report on the expenditures for the Division of General Services. Any other questions, further questions for OMB? Denoya, let's move forward to. Shannon, Delegate PVG.
I think I kind of asked a question to OMB, the overall of this, what I was told, what I said about the departments, but what is their plan? What is their plan of how many employees are they looking at this year that they're going to be on calls, or what's the continued operation of their offices? Maybe just give us an idea of how they're planning according to continue into this recovery. Sure.
Again, Shannon, we do not have Dominic Bial on the call with us. We do have his staff. They're simply here to give a report on the expenditures for the Division of General Services. So, Craigie, if Mr. Bial was on the call, I don't see him on the call right now, then I think he would be best able to answer that overall question. Shannon, Delegate Elmer PVG. Agushin for understanding that. And again, during the Budget and Finance Committee meeting on Monday, Mr. Bial will be on the call, and reserve your question for him again, Ada, and we'll be able to entertain that. With that, let's move forward to the presentation. Division of General Services budget. Delegate Amber Canas-Bakrati, the co-sponsors, so I'll defer the floor to you, and then feel free to call upon different departments.
Thank you, Chairman Hanyo, committee members. So for legislation 0141-21, we'll move forward with the insurance service department. I believe Mr. Mr. Charlie's on the line. I cannot read my writing. I apologize, yes, for that. So if you could please help the committee, and we'll start with the insurance management program. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Manuel Charlie. I'll go ahead and go through the insurance service department. Thanks for sponsoring this, and also members of the BNF committee. So shaking on it, I'm originally from Griffith Springs community, and the department manager for the insurance services department. And under insurance service department, there's 4 programs: risk management and safety, workers' comp, and employee benefits. When they get to them, we'll defer that to the program supervisors to provide their budget. Of course, I'll go ahead and provide insurance services department. We're the only department that gets funded through the general funds. So business unit 112003, insurance services department. Part 2, general funds, $85,465 at 38%. IDC allocation, $132,537, 59%. Personal lapse funds, $4,819 at 2%. Total is $222,821 at 100%. Part B, 201. Personnel expenses. Original budget was $170,979. Proposed budget is $186,444. $442,000, a difference, an increase of $15,463. $3,000 travel expenses. Fund is all general funds 1. Proposed original budget was $13,999. Proposed budget $3,285, a decrease of $10,714. $3,500 eating expenses. Original budget was $3,924. Proposed budget $3,924. Difference 0. $4,000 supplies. Original approved budget was $6,200. Proposed budget is $6,200, and the difference is 0. $5,000 leases and rental. Original budget was $4,911. Proposed budget is $911. A decrease of 2,000. 5,500 communication utility. The original budget was 6,288. Proposed budget is 6,288. A zero difference. 6,000 repair and maintenance. Original budget was 2,000. Proposed budget 2,000. The difference is zero. 6,500 contractual services. Original budget was 7,507. Proposed budget is 7,715. A difference, an increase of $208. 7,000 special transaction. Original budget was 2,437. Proposed budget 1,529. A decrease of 908. 8,000 public assistance. There's nothing. 9,000 capital outlay. Original budget was 4,306, and proposed budget is 2,527. A decrease of 1,779. 9,500 matching fund. There's nothing. 9,500 indirect costs. There's nothing. Total budget that was original budget was 222,551. The proposed budget is 222,821, an increase of $270. Personnel in the original budget was 2. The proposed budget is 2. Total vehicle budget in the original budget was 1, and the proposed budget is 0. We'll go on to Form 2. For goal statement 1 is update insurance coverage report with the Navajo Nation Insurance Commission on a quarterly basis. The performance measure Insure program provides educational and conduct site visits or virtual with insured participants. First quarter 4, second quarter 4, third quarter 4, fourth quarter 4. Goal statement 2, provide administrative and technical support for to Navajo Nation Insurance Commission to improve insurance plan. Performance measure Insurance Service Department and programs to facilitate and provide presentation virtual to the insured participants on a quarterly basis. And the first quarter is 4, second quarter is 4, third quarter is 4, and fourth quarter is 4. Goal statement 3, secure and archive insurance claims file through a secure database. Upload performance measure. Upload 25 claims folders per quarter into a secured server for claims management. First quarter 25, second quarter 25, third quarter 25, and fourth quarter 25. Fourth goal statement, ensure program conduct presentation, preventive presentation to the Navajo insurance participant to decrease medical claim expenses. Program measures, performance measures, provide education to Navajo Nation government employees and ensure participants per quarter. First quarter 4, second quarter 4, third quarter 4, and fourth quarter 4. Goal statement 5, redesign insurance office cubicle outlay to meet HIPAA regulation and close the front office for document control. Performance measure, secure insurance services department and program confidential files with the 4 programs. First quarter 0, second quarter 0, third quarter 2, and fourth quarter 4. Members of the Budget and Finance Committee, this is my proposed budget for Insurance Services Department. Thank you.
Chair Henio, are you there?
Chair Henio, this is Delegate Cardi. I apologize. So that is our budget as read into the record by Insurance Service Department. I do want to make sure that as committee members, we have this document. And so we'll defer back to the committee chair if there's any questions.
For the Insurance Services Department. I'll defer to the committee. Any questions for Insurance Services Budget Finance Committee?
This is Delegate Yell here, Chairman.
A question for Insurance Services Committee. Delegate Jimmy Yell here.
Okay. This is in reference to the budget on the budget form. It gave the request for the manual. I believe it's Charlie. It's a front page of the Part 3 budget summary. One area on 4000 series supplies 6,200. It's 6,200. Actual correction for him. 6,200. That's all. Everything's fine so far. I have no questions to that. Yeah.
Because she's if there's no questions, then we'll move to any further questions, comments from the Budget Finance Committee on Insurance Services Department. I'll defer back to Delegate Ember Kinoswakani to continue on.
Chair Henio, and this is Peggy. May I?
Peggy, go ahead.
We do have presentations from number 3, risk management, safety loss control, as well as number 4, employee benefits, and number 5, workers' compensation programs. We've only heard the Insurance Services Department so far.
I understand that. That's why I was deferring back to Delegate Amber Kinoswakani for the next presentation, which is safety, risk management, safety loss. Delegate Amber Kinoswakani.
Thank you, Chairman Henio. I apologize. I couldn't hear that last thing you mentioned.
The next program presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chairman. I may have been on mute, but I did ask if Risk Management can provide their budget. I thought I saw you come through.
Thank you, Shama, Madam Chair Crotty. Thank you, Budget and Finance Chair Honorable Henio. Good morning. General Shini Ketlata show and here to Bahujo. Arnold Toshan good morning. He did need a lift. Sheya Kodo risk management. Proposed budget being his fashion at all lift. Ado Shano Sini Sheya Shanovan Daily in She. Ado Kojit the Navajo Washington do enterprises the ne Ananish Hadais. What did you? A base or not Delja. Shananish Insen Leho doing the 16 years with the Navajo Nation, 12 of that with the Insurance Services Department. Kodoshi ni budget a hakwishi a bin his national legally. I send Linigi a indirect costs or general fund based on Deja under risk management, safety, loss control, IDC budget, but the Business Unit 112004, the proposed budget for Business Unit 112004 under the Risk Management Program is as follows, committee members. Part 1, indirect, Part 2, I'm sorry, funding source, indirect costs in the amount of $46,186, general fund in the amount of $100, Total is 46,286 at 100%. Under this business unit, there is no personnel and no vehicles budgeted in this business unit. The primary budget sits in 3,000 series under travel expenses. Last year, travel expenses was at 10,238. Our proposed budget this year is at 15,786, a difference of $5,548. The next budgeted line item is in the 4,000 series. The approved budget last year was 30,500. The proposed budget this year is 30,500. There is no change in that budgeted category. Going down on your totals, total approved budget last year was 40,738. This year's proposed budget is $46,286 with an increase of $5,548. Part 4, position and vehicles. Last year there are no vehicles. This year the same, no vehicles. There are no positions last year and no positions this year. Mr. Chair, that is the budget for 112004. Continuing on to the next business unit, and I don't know if that's what the preference of the committee is, to continue straight on to my next budget.
Mr. Dale, go ahead now, finish your whole presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So continue on with our next business unit is 812005. This is the primary business unit for risk management program under the Division of General Services. Part 2, funding source. We are a proprietary internal service funded program. Our proposed budget this year, our total amount is $12,761,606 at 100%. Part 3, our budget summary, 2001 personnel expenses. Last year was $864,724. This year's proposed budget is $983,489 with a difference of $118,765. For Series 3000 travel expenses, we have a proposed budget last year of $141,324. Proposed budget is $165,351 with an increase of $24,027. Under the 3500 series meeting expenses, last year we had none. This year we have none. There is a zero difference in that line item. For the 4000 series supplies, we have 75,000 budgeted last year. Proposed budget this year is 125,300, a difference of $50,300 increase. Under the 5000 series lease and rental, last year's approved budget was 16,900. This year we have 46,305. Total difference $29,405. Under communication and utilities, we had 20,900 last year. Again, this year we are proposing 20,900 with no difference in change. 6,000 series repair and maintenance, 11,500 last year, 11,500 this year. For 6,500 contractual services, last year was $1,009,000. This year, $1,151,947 with an increase of $142,947. Under the 7,000 series special transactions, $9,014,452. Our proposed budget this year is $10,256,814 with an increase of $1,242,362. All the way down to the total line, last year's total approved budget was $11,153,800. This year's proposed budget is $12,761,606 for a total increase of $1,607,806. Part 4, positions and vehicles. Last year, we had 15 positions and 4 vehicles. This year, we plan on maintaining that, 15 positions with 4 vehicles. Mr. Chair, that is risk management, safety, loss controls, budget overview. Thank you.
Oh, Shahaj, I appreciate the budget overview. Chairman Henyo, if would you want us to move forward with employee benefits or pause for the committee to ask questions? We'll defer to you. Thank you, Chairman.
Let's pause here and have the committee, if they have any questions for Mr. Shonovan Dale at this time regarding his proposed budget. Budget and Finance Committee, are there any questions on risk management, safety loss?
Chairman, this is Delegate Yellow here.
Delegate Yellow here, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Kat. Thank you, Mr. Shondell. Kat, thank you for your report. The only concern I have is your budget form is on email, and the budget in the last two columns in every budget category you have, they're blurry. But on the proposed original budget, they're clear. I don't know why these computer doesn't give us a clear picture on numbers. That's the only thing my concern. And so far, that's the only thing I have so far. Could you, Chairman, yeah.
Christina Kanosh and Delegate Jimmy here. Any other questions? Any further questions, comments for the budget here? Hearing none. Delegate Amber Kinosvakrati, you have the floor again for the next program.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the committee. So we'll move on to employee benefits. Also, Chairman Henyo, I just want to make sure that all of the individuals who are providing the budgets have taken the oath and provided that information to Ms. Nakai for the record. If you could state your name for the record for employee benefits, and we'll move forward.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Crotty and Chair Henio and members of the Budget and Finance Committee, as well as our constituents with the Insurance Services Department and our Division Director. My name is Yolanda Ciccarello. I am the Program Supervisor for the Employee Benefits Program. I'm not sure if I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen viewable?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So we have here Business Unit 812016 and 812017. The 812016 budget pertains to the personnel and operations of the Employee Benefits Program. The 812017 pertains to the Group Health Self-Insured Fund. The Internal Service Fund for fiscal year 2023 as proposed is $780,000, which represents 2% of the budget, and the $51 million represents 98% of the budget for the Group Insurance Health Fund. So part 3, we have our budget summary. The item 2001 for our personnel for our budget this year was approved at $670,114. We're proposing a budget of $695,025 for an increase of $24,911. For travel expenses, $40,968 was approved for this year or for this fiscal year. We're proposing $29,780 with a decrease of $11,188. For the meeting expenses, we had no expenses budgeted this year, nor for proposed budget for 2023, with a difference of 0. For our supplies, we are budgeted at $21,708. Our proposed is $17,157 for a decrease of $4,551. For lease and rental, $6,500 was approved for this year or for this fiscal year, and the same amount for proposed budget for next fiscal, $6,500 with a difference of 0. Communications and utilities, 7,000 currently budgeted, proposed 7,000 with 0 difference. Repairs and maintenance, 3,000 approved currently, proposed the same amount of 7,000 with no difference. Repairs and maintenance, 3,000 approved, proposed is 3,000 with no difference. For contractual services, our original budget, 16,145,000. We're proposing for fiscal year 2025, $25,145,000 with a difference of 9 million. Special transactions, original budget, 34,885,710. Proposed 25,876,538 for a difference or a decrease of 9,9,172,000. Our total budget for the original, which is currently what we're operating on, 51,780,000, and we're proposing the same value for the upcoming fiscal year, 51,780,000. Total number of positions budgeted, 11 for the current year, and next year, next fiscal year, 11 positions. Total of vehicles budgeted, 2, and we will remain at the 2. So we go on to our performance criteria. Goal 1, report the total number of new claims and clients to include COVID-related per quarter. So our performance measures is to report on a quarterly basis the number of new claims reported for health as well as counseling. 10,000 for first quarter, 10,000 second, 10,000 third, and 10,000 fourth. So straight across the board. Number 2, to conduct virtual training on benefits, wellness resources, counseling services, and COVID-19 benefit resources on an average of 10 presentations per quarter. Our measure is to report on a quarterly basis the number of communications completed. For all 4 quarters, we want to meet 10 per quarter. Number 3, provide quarterly reports to the enterprises, the chapters on benefits, claims, and to promote healthy lifestyles. Our performance measure is to report on a quarterly basis the statistics on program services provided. And again, this is to our enterprises and our chapters that participate in our insurance benefits. For all 4 quarters, we have 2. Number 4, provide a total of 1,250 employees and 975 family updates per quarter. Our measure is to report on a quarterly basis the number of plan participant updates completed. For all 4 quarters, 2,225 members. Number 5, review the premium paid to claims paid to determine the loss ratio per quarter. Our measure is to report on a quarterly basis the premium paid to claims paid loss ratio. The percentage for all 4 quarters is to meet at least 65%. Chair, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that budget review. Chair will defer back to the committee if there's any questions for employee benefits. Thank you.
For the presentation, the employee benefits presented their proposed budget to the Budget and Finance Committee. Budget and Finance Committee, are there any questions for employee benefits?
Here. Chairman,
Delegate, you have the floor.
Oh, yeah, and everything's fine, but with this email, the budget information, everything in the last 2 columns, they're all faded. Blurry, can't see the number, but it's okay. I hope everything's fine. With the Form 1, it also shows a blurry all the way. In the budget, the first column, it's clear. Proposed budget FY23, it's blurry. and also the difference of the less column of blurry. What our budget emailed earlier. Area on so minor. This is my issues, my concern. Our equity is, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Crowdy, helping with this department. Yeah, our equity.
Delegate Jamil here. Any further questions, comments regarding the budget for employee benefits? Then I defer back to Shanada, Delegate Amber Kinoswat-Karate for the next presentation.
Yes, thank you, Chair, committee members. We'll move on to workers' compensation program. If they are on the line, you may present your budget. Thank you.
Good afternoon again, Budget and Finance Committee. This is Manuel Charlie, sister. We had just hired a new program supervisor to fill the program supervisor position for the workers' comp program. She was originally working as an insurance claims analyst, and then she moved up to this position. So her name is Katelyn Sloman, and she hasn't taken her oath yet. So she probably needs to take her oath before she provides her budget.
Good morning, Chair, Madam Chair. This is Katelyn Sloman. Okay.
Chair.
Hey, Peggy, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Could you state your name again for the record, please?
This is Katelyn Sloman.
Okay, do you raise your right hand to swear, and then do you swear to tell the truth in the testimony you're about to give?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Charlie, Ms. Sloman, you have the floor.
Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, I've been a chair of the committee again. I'm the newly program supervisor for workers' compensation program. Ado tashi desi twanezani nishla toya dleni bashes chin kilachini dasha chedo but ani dashanella lay te sailing do ayasi nasha. Ado start reading off business unit 1814001 for workers' compensation program. Under part 2, funding sources, we've got a proprietary in the amount of $4 million, 100%, the total $4 million. Part 3, budget summary, 2001 personnel expenses. We were approved for $458,571 this fiscal year. We're proposing a budget for $745,619. For the difference, we've got an increase of $287,048. 3,000 travel expenses. We were approved for $65,024. We're proposing $75,819 with an increase of $10,795. For 3,500 meeting expenses, we were approved for $900, and our proposed budget is $900, no increase. For 4,000 supplies, we were given $94,500 this fiscal year. We're proposing $61,200 with a loss of $33,300. 5,000 lease and rental. We were approved $5,597. We're proposing $9,197 with an increase of $3,600. 5,500 communications and utilities. 8,000 we were approved for. We're proposing $8,472 with an increase of $472. 6,000 repairs and maintenance. We were approved for 27,000, and it's the same. We're proposing 27,000 with a zero increase. 6,500 contractual services. We were approved for 124,200 this fiscal year. We're proposing 84,788 with a loss of $39,412. 7,000 special transactions. We were approved for $3,206,208. We're proposing $2,977,500 with a loss of $229,203. Public is 8,000 for public assistance. We've got zero. 9,000 capital outlay. We are approved for 10,000, proposing 10,000. Zero increase. 9,500 matching funds. We've got zero. 9,500 for indirect costs. We have zero. So the approved original budget was $4 million. The proposed budget is $4 million. The total of positions we had approved for was 11, and we're proposing for 12. Total vehicles we have 3, and the proposed for 3 vehicles. Going on to Form 2. The first goal statement. Update reserves information for open claims, bodily injury, medical, and treatment plans. Upload 25 workers' compensation claim reserves forms, first quarter 25, second quarter 25, third quarter 25, fourth quarter 25. Second goal statement, to conduct investigations of occupational accidents to determine the cause of severe injuries within 10 days of first assignment. Or to conduct 25 accidental investigations within 10 days after the claim is assigned. First quarter 25, second quarter 25, third quarter 25, fourth quarter 25. Third goal statement, to ensure workers' compensation claims are accepted and or denied and closed out within 60 days. Approve, close, and or deny 15 workers' compensation claims per quarter, about 15 first quarter, 15 second quarter, 15 third quarter, 15 fourth quarter. Goal statement number 4, to provide workers' compensation benefits, education, training, disseminate information to covered participants per quarter. We're to conduct 6 educational and disseminate of benefits information to insured participants. 6 first quarter, 6 second quarter, 6 third quarter, 6 fourth quarter. Goal statement number 5, to ensure work comp gross payroll reporting data payments are provided by all chapters and enterprises and Navajo Nation governments per quarter. Collecting gross payroll data from 110 chapters, 15 enterprises, and the Navajo Nation government. First quarter 125, second quarter 125, third quarter 125, and fourth quarter 125. Thank you, Chair.
Shanada, Delegate Amber, can that complete your
Yes,
presentation?
thank you. I believe so. Was that the end of the workers' compensation program budget?
Kushina, this I'll defer to Shanada.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Chair. I just didn't know if she dropped the call, but I believe she read all of the budget into the record. Thank you. We'll defer back to the committee for any questions.
Kushina, go ahead. This Budget and Finance Committee, are there any questions regarding the workers' compensation?
Chairman, this is Delegate Yell here.
Delegate Ilher, you have the floor.
Yeah, I saw the under workers' compensation programs on the employee listing of positions and assignment by business unit number. You have a 3 vacancy. I think you mentioned one is going to be hiring. So what are you doing about these vacancy? Are you guys working with Human Resource Office? And Asian Advocate Down, the chairman. Nick is the detail. Hola, auto, the Bilakan, Kishibahati. Yet $100 to the chairman.
You are unmuted.
Yellow hair.
Oh, yeah,
Hold on, please, hold on. Are there any further questions, comments from the Budget and Finance Committee? Then I'll defer back to sponsor Shananda. Delegate Amber Kiniswakrati. Question from Delegate Jimmy Yelhair.
Okay, Yati, yes, thank you for your question. We'll defer to workers' compensation to answer. So Daisy, you could answer the question. Thank you.
oh, yeah, Chair. Ado yellow hair. To answer your question, we do have vacant positions on the for counselor. Our counselor position, Yaha, we promoted her to being an insurance claims analyst. She's our insurance claims analyst, elite. She took my position after I became the program supervisor. So counselor A open, it's vacant. Although we have 2 new positions that we created. It's not approved through DPM yet. AA Yaha, workers' compensation adjuster. Do network specialist asto. A call a day Yaha, they're vacant.
PCQs are pending.
Oh, PCQs are pending at DPM. So the only real vacant position, a counselor position. Although with this proposed budget, I'm proposing that we create a new position for insurance claims examiner.
So Daisy, are you there? Okay, we couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, were you done with the vacancy?
Oh, yes, I'm done.
Yes, you're doing a great job. Since we're all meeting online, when you're done, just let us know. Like that completes my answer, that completes my report, and then we know to give the floor back to the sponsor, to the committee. It's okay, it's a learning experience. So, Chair, that's the answer from the Workers' Compensation Program. We'll stand for any other questions or concerns. Thank you.
For the response, and Ms. Lohman for the response also. So this I defer back to the Budget and Finance Committee. Budget and Finance Committee, any further questions, comments? With that, we are down to the last item on the this portion is the Budget and Finance Committee actions. And so with this Budget and Finance Committee, are there any actions that need to be taken on this legislations?
Chair Himio.
Peggy?
Were you going to give some time to the deputy director? He didn't get a chance to speak on the budget.
That's up to Shananta Akudo as a sponsor of the legislation. Shananta, Delegate Amber Kineswakrati.
Yes, Chair. I appreciate the deputy director being on the line, but in terms of time and being effective and just the challenges we're having, I'm just trying to focus on the budget, and if there's any if the Deputy Director wants to answer any questions from the committee. Thank you, Chair.
So with that, let's move forward to the any actions on this legislation. Discussion and action. Committee members, is there any further discussion on this legislation? Call for the question to accept legislation 141-22 into the by the Budget and Finance Committee. Ramona, if you would lead us in a roll call vote.
Chairman Henry, roll call vote for the legislation. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, how do you vote?
I vote green, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Crotty, how do you vote?
Shada, this is Delegate Amber Kenneth-Crotty. I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Crotty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote? Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote? Chairman, we have 3 members voting in the affirmative.
I vote green, Delegate Begay.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Chairman, we have 4 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing, chairman not voting, and 1 member excused.
4 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Legislation 141-22 receives a due pass. So Mr. Arvizo and the staff, Mr. Dale, Mr. Charlie, Mr. Carello, and Ms. Sloman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, staff. Thank you.
Christina, let's move forward to the next legislation on our agenda. Office of Management and Budget Legislation 0132-22 and Kodoya Shinanta, Delegate Amber Kenneth-Crotty and Delegate Nathaniel Brown, co-sponsors. So we do have is Mr. Dominic Bial on the call.
Mr. Chair, committee members, this is Dominic Bial.
Thank you. Peggy, if you read legislation into the record for us, please.
I'm sorry, Chairman Henio, this is Delegate Crotty. I'd like to ask if Delegate Nathaniel Brown can present on this legislation.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown, are you? Available?
Oh yeah, thank you, Chair. Take off my mask. Yes, I can. Just,
With that, we do have a sponsor. So Peggy, if you read the legislation to the record for us, please.
Legislation number 0132-22 is assigned to Budget and Finance Committee. It's a proposed standing committee resolution, 24th Navajo Council, 4th year 2022, introduced by Amber Kenneth-Crotty and Nathaniel Brown as co-sponsor and Jamie Henio, tracking number 0132-22. An action relating to the Budget and Finance Committee approving and recommending the fiscal year 2023 budget for the Office of Management and Budget and related matters to be included in the Navajo Nation's FY 2023 comprehensive budget. We'll go to Exhibit A. This is a table and it shows the FY 2022 general fund budget. The total is $1,431,153. The proposed general fund budget for FY 2023 is $1,431,153. Indirect cost fund is $1,093,097. Personnel lapse is $65,894 for a total of $2,490,144. The exhibit B shows a total of $1,431,153. Exhibit C is blank. Exhibit D as well, and Exhibit E. Those are all blank. The memo from Legislative Council, the Internet Public Review shows no comments received. And then those of you that will be taking the oath today that haven't, that will be speaking to the OMB budget, please state your name for the record.
Selena Begay, Senior Budget Analyst for OMB.
Thank you.
Dominic Bial, Director, OMB.
Anyone else?
Cordell
Rachel
Shorty,
Arvizo.
Contracts and Grants.
Okay, Cordell.
Rachel Arvizo.
Rachel Arvizo, thank you. Who else? Is there anyone else?
Gary Sosi, OMB.
Okay, anyone else?
And Cedar Largo with OMB.
Okay, thank you. And then anyone else? Do you swear to tell the truth in a testimony you're about to give?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Some of you overlap.
Raise your right hand and speak.
Are you raising your right hand, Cordell? Yes? Did you say yes?
Oh, I was.
Okay, thank you. Gary, I didn't hear you. Okay, thank you. Going back to you, Chair.
Shikiela, thank you, Peggy, for taking care of that. For the committee, therefore, we do move forward to motions. Their motion.
Motion, Delegate Begay.
Motion by Delegate Begay for legislation 132-22. Is there a second?
Delegate Yellen.
Delegate Brown.
Motion of that, Delegate Jimmy Yellowhair. So with that, let's move forward to our introduction of the legislation by the sponsor. And then after that, we'll go to Office of Management and Budget for the budget summary report. So Delegate Nathaniel Brown, you have the floor to introduce their legislation.
Oh yeah, Chair Henio, other Budget and Finance Committee staff, other to all our we're on legislation 0139-22. Other I'll turn the time over to the OMB Budget and Performance Summary Report. Chair.
Thank you. Office of Management and Budget, who will be presenting the budget summary report?
This is Selena Begay. I'll be presenting the OMB budget report.
You have the floor.
Good morning, Budget and Finance Committees. My name is Selena Begay, Senior Budget Analyst for OMB. I will be reading the Navajo Nation OMB report for Office of Management and Budget. Second page is the table of contents. A, FY 2023 Fund Type Budget Summary. B, FY 2022 Third Quarter Budget Expenditure Report. C, FY 2022 Third Quarter Performance Assessment Report. D, FY 2022 Third Quarter Plan of Operations Status Report. E, FY 22 Additional Appropriation Legislative Concern Report. F, FY 2022 External Fund Expenditure Report. G, FY 2022 Single Audit Report. Next page is A, FY 2023 Fund Type Budget Summary. And the following page has a worksheet, an Navajo Nation fund type budget summary report for Office of Management and Budget. Has a business unit, first column, and the second column is the program title, and the third column has FY 2022 general fund budget. The amount total for that is $1,501,475. Proposed general fund budget $1,431,153. Indirect costs $1,093,097. Personal lab $65,894. Special revenue fund external $413,040. Total $3,003,184. Next page, FY 2022 third quarter budget status report. The next following page is a worksheet for the Navajo Nation budget status report as of June 30, 2022 for Office of Management and Budget. I will be reading the amount for the original budget, $2,632,500. Revised budget, $2,942,671.10. Actual, $1,268,251.59. Encumbered, $83,809.37. Budget available, $1,590,610.14. Percent expended of total, 45.95%. Next page, Ms. Ancita Largo will be reading that.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Third C is the FY 22 third quarter performance assessment report for OMB. First quarter 2.0, second quarter 2.0, third quarter 2.0. Going on to D, third quarter plans of operation status report. OMB needs to update their plan of operation. Going on to condition of appropriation legislative concern report. They have 3 condition of appropriation. Condition of appropriation number 1, third quarter they respond, they're in non-compliant. Number 2, they respond, they're in compliant. Number 3 is they didn't respond, but they're in compliant. They completed that condition of appropriation. That completes the OMB MPS report. Oh, they also had the legislative concern. They have 1. They did not respond for third quarter, but they are in compliant. They've finished that. That completes MPS report. Thank you.
This is Rachel Arvizo, Contracts, Grants, Principal Budget Analyst. Tab F is Fiscal Year 2022 External Funds Expenditure Report. The next page, you have the Budget Expenditure Report for OMB. The legend is provided at the top. I will read across line 2. There are 1 business unit in this external funded program. For Office and OMB, the revised budget is $2,788,084. There are 0 expenditures and 0 open commitments. So the available balance is $2,788,084. Spending as of June 15, 2022 is 0%. So we have available balance at 100%. Tab G, Fiscal Year 2020 Single Audit Report. There are none for OMB. This concludes OMB's report. Thank you, Chair and members of the committee.
Sheikh, thank you. Office of Management Budget for the budget summary report for the Office of Management Budget.
What they read is
Okay, so with that, let's move forward to questions, the Budget and Finance Committee. Any questions on the OMB report?
Chairman Henyo, this is Delegate Crotty.
Shanita, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair, committee members. Thank you, Delegate Brown, for assisting. In reading over the OMB report, Chair, I have some areas that I would like to ask questions. I'm just pulling it up right now. And when it comes to OMB, one of the areas is in terms of not only the performance, but some of the chronic concerns when we have reports and how slow it takes to get some of these budget units established. So I'm looking at slide 16 of 17 and under expenditure of 45%. And so I'd like just to see if OMB then is over calculating how much they need for their budget, or is it an issue where you have chronic vacancies, and then what is the plan? Because I think if we're not seeing an expenditure, then you may not need the amount of money that you're going to be requesting this fiscal year. What is the plan for the plan of operation? This is our fourth year as a committee going over budgets, and there should be a movement in the plan of operation to update some of these other areas. And I'd like to get feedback in terms of the non-compliance when it comes to the conditions of appropriation. And also, let's see, if there was an issue regarding, I'm sorry, my computer is very slow right now. It looks like OMB received some of the Treasury money, the ARPA funding. And so what is the plan then to draw down those dollars so that OMB can modernize and be able to assist the nation with these multiple projects that were approved, but yet we're still seeing it take at the very best 9 months to get money to start getting drawn down. Those are my questions right now in regards to what was presented to the committee in the OMB report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for the question. Could I defer back to sponsor, Delegate Nathaniel Brown, regarding the OMB report?
Chair Henio, can we get Delegate Yellowhair to mute his phone, please?
Delegate Yellowhair? There you go. Yeah. Delegate Nathaniel Brown, are you there?
Oh, yeah. This is Lisa. I was talking when I was muted. But yeah, thank you, Samastana, for your question. I will give the time back to Ms. Selena Begay for her response. Go ahead.
Hello, this is Selena Begay. I'll direct the question to Mr. Biel, OMB Director.
Mr. Biel.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. I was muted, so I was starting to make my comments. Now, speaking more specifically to the report given by some of my staff members and now to the questions by Delegate Karate. The first one she asked about was our low expenditure level. And she's correct when she made the statement that it's mainly in personnel. At the moment today, we have 19 staff on board and 10 vacancies. And the vacancies have been, well, part of it was a result of that early retirement program from last fall, where we had 5 employees take advantage of that, and therefore they retired. So that created 5 vacancies. Additionally, we've had some turnover where some staff have left, transferred elsewhere, and so on. But anyway, the consequence, the result is we do have 10 vacancies at the moment. And I know you've heard by now that the chronic problem really is the Department of Personnel's advertising of all these vacancies, and then any applications that are referred, then we make consideration of those. But that part is probably affecting our entire government as well as other states and other government entities as well. There's not very many applications. So consequently, we've been hard pressed to fill a lot of these vacancies. Our budget overall is 95% personnel. So only 5% of our budget is not personnel. That means travel, supplies, and other such costs. So because we have all of these vacancies, that's causing our overall budget to reflect low expenditures. So that's the cause and effect of the under expenditures. And I might comment further, and when I get to my budget overview, which is next, I'll be speaking again more about this. But even though we're short staffing wise, we've been able to carry out most of our core and basic job responsibilities. And the staff should be commended for that. Next, on our plan of operation, I'm looking for that page. Our particular plan of operation was approved in 2002. And the result of that is at one time there was 2 separate offices, the basic Office of Management and Budget, and then there was also an Office of Contracts and Grants. So they were separate and had separate functions and duties and budgets as well. But in 2002, OCG, as I call it, Office of Contracts and Grants, merged into the overall OMB. And today it is now the Contracts and Grants section. So the purpose of that was we were finding that when we're developing the annual comprehensive budget, comprehensive meaning all fund sources, not just Navajo funds, but also the external funds, that it was better to merge together in order to carry out that responsibility in a more positive and productive way. So that was the intent. Now, because the Government Services Committee was dissolved in, for the date too. Well, I don't recall the date. It doesn't show in the report. I don't see it. That raised the call for annual plans of operations to be revised, amended, and made more up to date as needed. In our case, there really isn't a need to amend it because the basic core functions and responsibilities and so on and so forth remain the same as the 2002 version. But we can update it if need be. For example, it has references to GSC, and GSC is no longer there. So that's a technical amendment that could be made. And so I'll discuss it with OPVP and DOJ and see if they want to move forward in that fashion. Next is the question about our performance on conditions of appropriation. Cedar Largo mentioned 3 COAs that we have. 2 of them we've done, so we're compliant. But there's one that remains non-compliant. That's the one where the proposed budget policies manual should be finalized and completed. That particular COA calling for the budget policies manual remains unfinished. You know, I admit it. That's the fact at the moment. Our staffing that I just mentioned, this particular job has now fallen largely on my shoulders, and I accept it. And so therefore, over the last few months, I've been working on it basically alone. And I wanted to have a good draft ready by now. And in fact, there was a version that we printed yesterday, but it still needs to be double checked and finalized and then submitted to Department of Justice for further review, action, editing, and so forth. But I remain well, I just want to say again, I admit it needs to be done. It's not done yet, but I will get it done on behalf of OMB to satisfy the COA, and hopefully soon, as soon as next week, I think it would be done and submitted to DOJ for further review, as I said. And anyway, that's on the COA. On the ARPA FRF budget, the report that you saw on the expenditures shows that our budget was finally put into place in March. So that's just about three months ago now. And what we've been doing with that particular budget is it calls for, I believe there's about 5 positions who would concentrate on the ARPA funding and our role, along with OOC, DOJ, and others, the FRF office, in getting all of the work processed. Well, that particular budget, because they're all new positions, requires PCQs and for them to get classified and then advertised, and then any referrals we get, we'll consider those for hires. As I said earlier regarding our budget expenditure level. That's an area as well that's slow because there's very little applications, and that's the reality. So the ARPA budget, therefore, has not really begun to be used because there's a lack of positions, personnel to fill those positions and get underway. So that budget, when it gets filled, those positions get filled and the use of that budget begins, would really help us in doing our overall work. In this case, it obviously would be focusing on the ARPA funding. I know Mr. Shorty is on the line, and his section would be in charge of this budget. So, Mr. Shorty, you want to add any further comments on that subject? If so, please do.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, this is Cordell. The only comment I provide is just the daily task and reviewing documents related to contracts and grants and application, grant awards, budget revisions, and so forth. It's very daunting. And Dominic mentioned the vacancies in the OMB. Contract and grant had 13 positions. At one point, there were 8 vacant positions operating with only 5. Now we're down to 6 vacant positions, although the position has been advertised going back to April 2020, the start of the government partial operation, government shutdown due to the pandemic. So the positions have been advertised going back that far, but since then we've only filled a couple of them. So operating with less number of staff, being shorthanded, and the amount of workload, it's been very, very challenging to where there's really not much activity as far as making use of the funding allocated to OMB contracts and grants. Remember that these dollars that were allocated to the President's office to program that provide support services and implementation of the $2 billion ARPA funding is for a budget covering 5 years. So the 2.7 allocated in OMB, we're in year 1, so that there's been hardly any activity. So year 2 starts October 1st. So hopefully, as Dominic said, when some of these positions are filled, the 6 that currently we have on contracts and grant, and there are 6 positions proposed in the ARPA budget with those to bring individuals on board, filling those. Hope that with that, then we're able to make use of the funding allocated to OMB, the 2.7 for. So that's a quick response on that. Chair, members of the committee.
Delegate Brown, committee members, that concludes our response to Delegate Karate's questions. Thank you. Did you hear me? My last remark?
Chair
Yeah, Chair. I believe that we are done with the response from Mr. Bial.
Kushina Kiala. Thank you. I'm sorry. I with that response from Mr. Bial regarding the questions that were posed on the OMB report. We are still on the report, so any further questions on the report? Let's move forward to the actual legislation itself, and if there are more questions from Mr. Bial, we can entertain that. So, Kodayash Delegate Nathaniel Brown, you have the floor to present the budget to the committee for OMB.
Eugenio, I have a question, if I may.
On the report or to the program?
On the report.
Okay, on the report, good.
Okay, I see that in your report, I'm not sure what page is, but it's the fund type budget summary. And it shows what Exhibit A shows in the legislation, but it shows that the special revenue fund external is $413,040. Yet in the back of the OMB report, it shows that the external funds expenditure report that 2.7 million was allocated. And I was wondering why that wasn't shown as a part of the budget on this budget summary sheet. That's my question.
That's a good question there. Can that Delegate Nathaniel Brown response to the question on the report?
I will defer to Mr. Bial for a response. Yeah.
Mr. Chair and committee members and Delegate Brown responding to Ms. Nakai's question. On the OMB report, the external funds, you look at that page, that's the one that has the $2,788,000 figure. If you look at the column E, it talks about the ending date of this fund source. So that goes up to year ending fiscal year 26. So this is a 5-year fund amount. And what we've done in our budget summary is annualize it to fiscal year 23, which is the budget under discussion before the committee and before the government at the moment. So that figure is $413,040. So that's the answer to that question. Mr. Chair, Delegate Brown, thank you.
Yes, Chair. I thank you, Mr. Bial. Chair, that completes our response. Yeah.
Thank you for the response. And so therefore, if there are no further questions on the report, let's move to the legislation itself. Delegate Nathaniel Brown, you have the floor to present the budgets through OMB.
Yeah, the Chair, I will defer the time to Mr. Bial for the presentation. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'll just go ahead and speak to our budget. Speak to our budget now. Mr. Chair and committee members, and of course our sponsor, Delegate Brown.
Excuse me, Chairman, so this is Delegate Yell here. point of order.
Delegate Jamil here. What's your point of order?
I don't see budget in here for a Mr. BL's office. I look for the budget for FY23 proposed budget. There's none in this even email. I looked it all over. Thank you, Chairman.
So that Peggy, do you have was there an email sent by Office Manager and Budget?
Yes, Chair. The Dominic did send that out, and let's see, I believe I sent that out. Trying to look through my email. Let me look on for it for a minute. Let me mute myself here. Dominic, can you let me know when you sent that out? Please, that will help.
Yesterday afternoon, Peggy, it was sent to
Yes, thank you.
all the BNF members, as well as some of the other advisors.
Okay, thank you. I sent it out yesterday evening at 5:09 p.m., but I'll send it out again to the committee.
With that, Delegate Jamil here was sent yesterday evening, 5:09 p.m. It'll be sent out again per your request. So with that, let's move forward to Mr. Biel. You may proceed again.
Thank you again, Chair, and Delegate Brown, members of the committee, and others on the call. I prepared a short director's overview of our budget as proposed for fiscal year 2023. Let's say under OMB letterhead addressed to the BNF committee, dated today, July 29th. And I kept it brief and concise to the point, so I'll go ahead and go over it. Letter A very briefly spells out our division, purpose, and scope pursuant to Title II and our plan of operation, which is directing and managing the allocation and appropriation processes of Navajo funds, provide management support in fiscal management, budgeting, management contracts and grants, and so forth. Now, letter B is a comparison of fiscal year 22 to 23. When you look at that, the first column there shows our fund sources, the general fund, IDC fund, and then the GWA fund. For fiscal year 22, the next column, the grand total is $2,632,500. And it shows the respective general fund amounts, IDC amount, and the GWA fund amount. Now, next to that is the 23 proposed budget. You'll notice the general fund is exactly the same amount. So that remained stable. The IDC fund, obviously, that's pursuant to the annual IDC agreement. So our share of that is $1,000,000 $93,097. The GWA fund, $65,894. So you see the grand total, $2,590,144. The next column shows the differences between the two. Again, the general fund, there was no difference. IDC fund, and there's a reduction of $37,928. GWA fund, a reduction of $4,428. So the overall net reduction is $42,356. And then the percentages, -4%, -7%, overall, -2%. Those are the dollar amounts that we have available comparing 22 and 23. My comment on the general fund will be President Nez, the President's office, gave instructions when they did the annual planning allocations that most budgets will remain consistent, stable. That's why ours is at the same level. There's other budgets that you'll hear in the coming weeks as you move through the budget hearings. Some divisions got increases, but our budget was not one of them. So it shows the stable funding level for us. Now, letter C describes the fiscal year 23 budget impacts. Number one, again, there's an overall reduction of $42,356. The general funds remained the same. IDC funds reduced by $37,000. The GWA personnel lapse reduced by $4,000. Number two, the fiscal year 23 salary schedule that was issued by DPM that we all use for the fiscal year 23 budget process includes the GWA in effect for fiscal year 21 and 22, which is about 3% each. So this cost must be borne in the 23 budget. So again, the committee, I think, hopefully will recall that annually, out of all the general fund budgets in the personnel category, unexpended budgets go into the personnel lapse savings, and that balance is made available subsequently for the following year's GWA at whatever level, and that remains to be determined by the BNF during your upcoming budget hearings on the overall budget. But from prior years, see, because it's done annually, you have to absorb it within your own budget amounts. So that's what we've done here, and that's what I'm explaining. Now, number three, the fringe benefits increased by 8.68% overall. FY22, it was 43.38%, and for 23, it's 52.06%. That's for the regular employees, which is all of OMB employees. And in the budget manual that the BNF adopted, it shows all of the fringe benefits. And most categories, if not all, were also increased. So the point of that in number 4 is because of the salary increases and then the fringe benefits, the GWA step increases, our personnel costs has increased substantially. So OMB's budget proposes the following. There's ABC. A, we propose to abolish one senior contract analysts, and also the office assistant position. B, reclassify and upgrade the office specialist position to an administrative assistant position. C, 2 senior contract analyst positions. The vacancies we spoke about before would be budgeted for 9 months to start January 1st through September 30th. So those 3 moves will allow us to budget personnel-wise within our funding amounts. But that's the consequence, that's the result in our case. Number 5, we would eliminate the tribal vehicle because in effect it's not really being used because there's no place to park it where we are in the museum area. So it's been sitting up at Admin Building 1 all year. And we don't use it very much. So this would also be a cost reduction. Now, the next one is we're renting 3 conference rooms in the museum building, and it's somewhat expensive, $93,600 overall. And this is even at a discounted rate. Now, the regular OMB workplace in Admin Building 1 remains unremediated because DGS has not done the air quality testing and remedial work ever since October of 2019. Now, this was supposed to have been done within 3 to 6 months, but here we are 32 months later, which is 2.5 years. We're still in the museum in temporary offices using plastic work tables and so on and so forth. A large part of our equipment remains in Admin Building 1, but it hasn't been remediated yet. And that's a problem, continues. This working condition affects performance and then the staff morale. So it needs to be completed. And I'm happy to say that President Nez was here a couple of weeks ago, and we further apprised him of the situation and how long it's taken. And he called in the DGS director and gave instructions, let's get this done, let's hurry up and finish it. So, number 7, again, this is what we already spoke about somewhat. We have a number of position vacancies, 10 of them. Some of them have been unfilled for up to a year. That means it even goes back to fiscal year 21. I mentioned already that we had 5 retirees. And finally, there's few qualified applicants from DPM. The result is that OMB has worked during the pandemic period with only 60% of full staffing. Yet, I would say we continue to do the job. Again, I said, I would think our office and staff should be commended for being able to do that. Letter D gets to budget forms, and I'll cover that in a minute here. Then letter E, we have an unmet need. So now going to the budget forms themselves, budget form 1 for OMB, BU number 105001. In part 2, again, it explains our funding sources. Now, these are just the Navajo funds, general funds, the IDC, and then the GWA. The amounts totaling $2,590,144. In part 3 is a comparison in columns A and B of our funding and where And column B is our proposed budget for 23. You see that our personnel increased slightly. Again, that's because of fringe and other things. For travel is being reduced. Supplies is being reduced, and so forth. It shows those numbers. In part 4, we had 28 positions in this year's budget, and we're going to go with 26, 23. The tribal vehicle, we still have 1 at the moment, but for next year we'll delete that. Now going to Form 2, our performance criteria. The top of the page, Part 2, it just, again, summarizes very briefly what we do pursuant to the plan of operation. Now, we have 5 goal statements. And throughout the years, for the last several years, these measures, goals and objective statements and the measures have remained pretty consistent. The difference would be just in the numbers of documents and reports that we do on an annual basis. That would be subject to adjustment, and we've done it. The only new one really on this page is goal statement number 5. It speaks about the COVID-19 pandemic and the ARPA funding, since the ARPA funding is new. So it speaks about 100 total applications in a given year. This is an estimate. And our work in handling and processing, reviewing all of those ARPA funding applications. Moving on, Budget Form 3. This is the one issued by DPM. Shows all of our budgeted positions. And it shows whether they're vacant or occupied, the budget amounts. Then the grand total being $1,552,480. That's the personnel budget. Moving on now to Budget Form 4. Shows our operating budget. 2110 again is our personnel summary, and our personnel lapse fund is in there, is in these figures. We have some salary adjustments that we're projecting for the coming year, because annually, pursuant to the personnel policies, there's employee performance assessments that are done on the anniversary dates of the employees. So they would either be eligible for an annual step increase or a merit bonus. Depends on where they are in the range within a given step for their particular position. So these are the projected amounts. Again, then bottom of the page there is the fringe calculations, and that's an increase. Next page, page 5, shows our projected travel costs, our supply costs, computers, and so forth. Page 6 is the top of the page one. The first one there is our building lease. $93,600. If we remain down here for the duration of fiscal year 23, as you heard me say before, hopefully admin 2 will be, or at admin 1 will be remediated to the point that we can safely reoccupy it, which time this cost would be reduced depending on the availability. Our communications costs for telephones, internet, and so forth, repairs and maintenance costs. Page 7, we have some funding for gifts and awards, catering, printing, advertising, training costs, the personnel background checks, and then the various insurance expenses. Page 8 is reflects some of the changes to our personnel. Abolishing the office assistant position, abolishing 1 senior contract analyst positions, and then reclassifying the office specialist to a administrative assistant position. Then the next 2 are prorated. These are the 9 months, 2 of the senior contract analysts. So those are the projected revisions and adjustments on our personnel. Moving on, the is our Form 6 on the external funds, which essentially, again, is the ARPA funding. You look at the funding period at the top right-hand corner, it has 2022 to 2026. So that's the 5-year period that I mentioned. And the funding would be available. The grand total of $2.7 million. So in the middle of the page there, it shows the major cost categories. Column B is our current budget, and that just was put into place this past March. And the grand total of $956,301. Column C is what we're budgeting and projected would be our expenses for fiscal year 23, $413,040. Column D would show some of the differences. Of note, let me call your attention to budget category, budget object code 6000, repairs and maintenance. You'll notice in this year's budget we have $400,000, and then for 23 there's no amount. Okay, the $400,000 is what we set aside again to remediate, to renovate, to repair our space in Admin Building 1. That's the purpose of that amount. And we're still hopeful that that will get done soon. And if it is done soon, then and it's cleared, declared by NOSHA and others that it's healthy and safe, then we can move back in. But we're going to have to reconfigure the office space because of the changes in our staffing pattern and staffing levels and so forth. So that's that amount that's there. Finally, we have an unmet need request. It's marked Exhibit E because this is what would be included in your budget legislation, members of the committee, if you choose to support it. And the amount that we would be requesting for is $174,994. And that would restore the abolish contract analyst position. And then it would also provide training funds for external fund management, budget training, and then technical assistance and grant and contract activities. This same budget, unmet needs budget request, has been submitted as well to President Nez and his staff. So it's being considered there as well. Because pursuant to the branch chiefs agreement, ENF committee members, you'll recall that the branch chiefs agreement states that the branch chiefs will likely exercise their opportunity to submit unmet needs to the BNF committee. And the fund source would be the 27.9 million that remains unbudgeted from the permanent fund income excess. So hopefully, committee members, you'll support our requests, our budget as proposed, and as we move forward through the process, particularly when the unmet needs are being considered. Mr. Chair, committee members, Delegate Brown, that's the overview presentation of our budget. And am now ready for any questions or further comments. Thank you.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown.
Oh, yeah, the Chair, Aldo Craig Ishi, that completes the response. Aldo Craig Ishi, Chair.
Thanks, Budget Finance Committee. That is an overview of the budget presented by Office of Management Budget. Therefore, the floor is open for questions. Any questions for Mr. Vial?
This is Delegate Yeller here. Can hear me?
You have the floor. You have the floor, Shanada.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairman Doe and Mr. Bial. Good afternoon. Your report is very excellent, but I don't know if you're working with the Human Resource Office. As you stated, you have 8 vacancy positions. I know it's good to have, probably it's good to have it, because this money will go back to the Navajo Nations. Anyway, but I don't know if you're working with Human Resource and how well you are forcing to get these positions to be filled for 2023. Chairman. Yeah.
Delegate Jimmy Yell here. With this, any other further questions, comments, Budget and Finance Committee?
Chairman Henio, this is Delegate Carney with the question.
You have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Excuse me. In terms of the abolished positions, are those currently vacant and then they'll be reclassified? What would it take to modernize OMB? So if ARPA dollars may have restrictions to be specifically for ARPA related projects, what is the investment, excuse me, that needs to be done so that OMB can be a modern program with the technologies, the tools, the training that is needed? Should this committee start looking at maybe possible recommendations of hiring a management team to assist OMB? We see that in other governments where they're not able to keep up with the capacity Although OMB, and I appreciate the staff and you're doing the best you can with the location you're at and your staff, but I also think there should be a conversation, especially from this budget. How can we move into the 21st century with OMB, getting the budget like online, getting the budget on the process digitized, so we move away from paper, we move away from requiring original signatures and move into like how Adobe Pro has certified signatures, and you put in your password. I'm looking for that in terms of this budget, because that's going to set the tone on how we move forward. And if there's an unmet need, if that could be sent to the committee for review. Thank you, Chair. Those are my questions.
Thank you for the question. I'll defer back to the sponsor, Delegate Nathaniel Brown.
Oh, yeah, Kwegi, Shananta, Budget and Finance Committee members, for your questions. Chair, I will defer to Mr. Bial for the response to these questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Delegate Brown, Chairman Henio, members of the committee. Responding to Delegate Yellowhair and then Delegate Crotty. Starting with Delegate Yellowhair, he's asking about our number of vacancies and are we working with DPM and DHR as far as ways to better handle this, to better deal with it. And my answer would be, that's an excellent question. And in a way, I'm glad he brought it up. Here's what we are doing. Cordell Shorty, contracting officer in particular, he's been working with both DHR and DPM about trying to address this problem about filling the vacancies. So he's been able to work to get some of his positions modified, the position requirements, to allow and provide for a tier level. Okay, what does that mean? Tier level. Right now we have a number of senior contract analysts, and many times there's little to no applications for that position. So next would be a regular contract analyst position. So that position would be at a lower level, both salary-wise and then work product as well. The qualifications would be lesser too. And then finally would be an associate contract analyst. So that's what we mean by tiers. It would be a senior, a regular, and then an associate. Each of those levels have differences in qualification requirements, work duty requirements, and then the salaries as well. So that's being used at the moment. And there have been a few applications, but there hasn't been any, any recent new hires. So the vacancies at the moment continue. And I've seen memos from DPM where they, on one of these vacancies, they would send us a memo saying, we heard or received applications. They would name the person, one or two persons. Then they would do their assessment at all three levels, senior, regular, and associate. And in many cases, the applicants don't qualify for any of them. But that's the effort that we've been using with DPM in trying to get our staffing level up. Delegate Crotty, ask about the abolished vacancy. It is vacant. And even the other position, the office assistant and office specialist that we're going to reclassify to create a higher level position, that's vacant too. One of the incumbents transferred to another job elsewhere. Modernizing OMB. What are ways to do that? In our unmet need budget, we do have 100,000 that we're hoping to receive, and that would provide enhanced training not only for OMB but for all of the divisions and branches who utilize, in particular, external funds. The NAHTA plan that President and Vice President have, and that have been working with the executive branch to accomplish, also speaks about the same subject matter in the case of OMB. So again, if BNF committee supports our initiative or our request in that level, we would appreciate it, and it would help us to do better in that manner, in that way. And Delegate Crotty, possibly the 100,000, even that amount can be increased so that we could perhaps retain outside help in helping to upgrade our technology, the systems we use, and then the tools as well, reporting, performance, and so on and so forth. Mr. Chair, that's my response to the two delegates on their questions. Thank you.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown, does that complete your response?
Chair Henio, yes, that completes the response.
Gashina. With that, back to the Budget and Finance Committee. There was questions that were asked and the response have been made. Are there any further questions, comments?
Chair Henio, I have a question.
Gashina, if there are no further questions from the committee, go ahead, Peggy.
Looking at your Form 2 in your budget, the question that I have is pertaining to the vacant positions and such. But under your goal statement 2, it says your program performance measure objective, it says issue quarterly compliance reports, 12 analysts times 8 compliance reports per quarter. So you're generating 96 reports per quarter, 384 reports annually. I heard you say that the past 5 years you've had the same goal statement. So in looking at your vacant positions, I believe there's 6 analyst positions that you have listed in on that form that is generated from personnel. Are you still meeting that goal statement with that, or do you need to amend that goal statement 2? That's my question.
You got 22.
Christina, thank you for spotting that on the Form 2. Committee members, any further questions, comments?
Chairman Henio, I was looking for, is there an unmet need request?
Okay, question, unmet need request, defer back to the sponsor for that particular question also, because it was asked first time around. I don't think it was responded to. So with that, should that Delegate Nathaniel Brown response to questions that were posed? Delegate Nathaniel Brown.
Okay, there, I should be unmuted now. Chair, Auto Budget and Finance Committee members, Ekehet Kwegi, and Dados Kitty. Chair, I will defer now to Mr. Dominic Vial to respond to these questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Delegate Brown and Chair Hinio and members of the committee. Responding to Advisor Nakai's question on number 2, goal statement number 2. I just pulled up our 22 Form 2 form, and number 2 remains the same in both cases. So what that means, and I'll let Mr. Shorty speak more to this in a moment, is that we intend to carry out the same work level and production and results as in this year, and we're projecting to do the same in fiscal year 23. And obviously that would be affected by when and if these vacancies get filled. Mr. Shorty, please add to the explanation.
The chair, members of the committee, this is Cordell. Good question by Advisor Nankai. I guess meeting the goal is in two fronts. Each analyst and contracting grant do a minimum of 8 compliance reviews per quarter. Essentially, what that is a staff are assigned to oversee different contracts. So during the quarter, they pick up a funding agreement, look at that, and to see what the action items are. Quarterly reports could be quarterly, semi-annual, or annual report. The minimum report required is narrative report, progress report, and then the other is financial report. Then in some cases, it's audit findings. So the analysts take a look at the grant agreement and see if those reports that are required for submission are indeed submitted by the programs. So each analyst do that. So the analysts that our board have been able to meet the minimum 8. But when we do it on a program level of contracts and grants, then that's where the hit and miss happens, if you will. Some of the quarters we were able to meet the minimum of 96, and in other quarters we were not. The reason the minimum is met is staff do more than the 8 that they were expected to do for the quarter. So some really go to great lengths, go out of their way to do as many review as they can the quarter in order to meet the target for the as a section contracts and grants. And they're to be commended and very understanding that we have this charge to carry out and do everything possible to meet the minimum for the quarter on the contract and grant office basis. So the question I raised in the past is, okay, this is the mandate for the quarter. Because we're understaffed, we're not able to meet that. So what's the process to get that adjusted? Do we go back to BNF? Do we go back to the council to adjust that the number that wasn't met due to understaffing? What's the process on that? So that's a question that hasn't been answered for me, Mr. Chair. Uh-oh. See a drop call.
Yeah. Shouldn't that Delegate Nathaniel Brown? Now I don't know if that question had been answered. I tried to listen out for it. I might have missed it, but the unmet need portion of the question.
Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Beal. Yeah.
Thank you, and excuse me, Delegate Brown. I just looked up the budget packet that we sent to all of you. There is an unmet need document in there. It's the last page. Recommended unmet needs budget. My copy, we call it Exhibit E because if the Budget and Finance Committee accepts it as submitted, as is, then it would become Exhibit E to the budget legislation. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown, does that complete your response?
Chair, yes, that completes the response. Yeah.
For the response. Back to the Budget and Finance Committee, questions have been posed and they've been responded back to. Are there any further questions, comments?
Chairman Henyo, this is Delegate Karate with a question.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate Mr. B also pointing out the unmet needs. So I'm going to make a request that we revisit this budget on Mondays so that the staff, our legislative staff, can create the amendment to include the unmet need, to recommend the unmet need. The other area that I wanted to ask is there a carryover request from the Office of Management and Budget? Thank you, Chair.
So I recognize your motion to table after the response to the question that you have posed. Delegate Nathaniel Brown.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that request. Let me defer to my agent, Mr. Bial.
Thank you, Delegate Brown, Chair Henyo, members of the committee, and responding to Delegate Karate, her question. We do, as I said, we do have an unmet need request, and I'm happy to hear that she's receptive to including it in the overall budget legislation for our office. We'd appreciate that and support that action. Now, the other part of her question was about carryover. In our budget, as explained, about 95% of our budget is personnel, and it's all general fund. So essentially we can't carry it over. However, in some of our non-personnel line items, there may be balances that we expect. And we can run a balance just to see if there's any substantial amount that we might have or project to have available at year end. That part might be subject to carryover. But also, I would remind the committee members that in the branch chiefs agreement, you'll remember the recommendation is made by the 3 branch chiefs for BNF committee and then ultimately the full Navajo Nation Council to support an overall carryover for the 3 branches in the amount of $5 million. $3 million would be for the executive branch, and then $1.5 million each for legislative and judicial, respectively. So that if that is adopted in the budget resolution that will be developed soon, then that'll deal with some of the carryovers on an overall basis. Mr. Chair, Delegate Brown, thank you, and that speaks to Delegate Crotty's question. Thank you.
Chair Henio. Peggy.
Peggy, please. So we're still in the response there. We haven't gotten deferred back to the committee yet. Thank you, Mr. Biel. Delegate Nathaniel Brown, does that complete your response?
Chair Henio, yes, that completes the response.
Thank you, for responding back to you for the questions. And right now, I'll defer back to the committee. I did, Delegate Amber Kinespot-Crowley, I did hear that you were wishing to revisit this, so I'll yield the floor back to you to make that determination.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Henio. I would like to refer this, for a budget reconsideration, hopefully at our special meeting on Monday, so we can include the unmet need portion. The second part of my question I wanted to ask Mr. Biel is, what is the plan for a permanent location for OMB? We're reviewing our capital improvement facility listing. I did not see the OMB request, and I think in this budget period we'll be waiving the 5-year plan again. But we would need to know how to move forward on that permanent building for OMB. Thank you, Chair.
Goshina, so you're holding off on your tabling motion because if we're going to revisit, we need to table this legislation. So there's another question that's being produced at this time. So,
I'm sorry, Chair. No, if we could move with this budget and Mr. Biel can prepare to answer that question when we do the revisit. Thank you.
Okay, so will you be motioning to table this legislation then?
Yes, Chair, I motion to table.
Kashina, as a motion on the floor to table the legislation, is there a second to Monday? Is there a motion, second on the tabling motion?
Yeah, Chair, this is Delegate Brown. I'll go ahead and second that.
Okay, Shina, there's a motion. There's a motion and a second to table legislation 132-22 to Monday August 1st, 2022. With that, there's no discussion on tabling motions. But in the meantime, though, with the instructions to Office Legislative Council to get the exhibit for the unmet need formalized, and that way the Budget and Finance Committee can formally approve it. So with that, Ramona, roll call vote. Peggy?
Yes, thank you. I was going to make a comment. The Legislative Council has already been working on an amendment for OMB to review regarding their change to include the unmet need budget in their Exhibit E, and I'm also changing the Exhibit A to reflect that change.
Okay, so they could present that on Monday then. That Ramona, a roll call vote?
Yes, Chairman Henya, roll call vote on motioning table. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, how do you vote? Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, how do you vote?
Delegate Yellowhair votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Blackrotty, how do you vote? Honorable Amber Kenneth.
This is Delegate Amber Kenneth-Blackrotty. I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you, Shadeja. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Blackrotty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I'll vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Chairman, we have 4 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing. Chairman not voting, and 1 member excused. Chairman?
For that roll call vote. It's 4 in favor, 0 opposed, Chair not voting to table the legislation that's before us. So therefore it's tabled. Okay, back to our agenda regarding the Budget and Finance Committee hearings. And we did table a legislation yesterday. And it was supposed to destined to be back today, which is legislation 142-22. And I'm the prime sponsor of this legislation. Therefore, the committee, before I hand the gavel over to a committee member, as far as the instructions, Peggy, yesterday on the tabling motion, has the information been completed?
Chair Henio, can you refer that information to Laureline, because she was the one that was preparing the amendments?
Gashina, I think that both Ms. Tapahi and yourself should be working together. That's why I asked you as our legislative advisor. Ms. Tapahi?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have an amendment with replacement exhibits A and exhibit E. I'm just double checking one final time with Ms. Begay, the acting controller, to make sure that I have the correct forms and the correct dollar amounts. Since this legislation is being pulled up from the table now, I would respectfully request that Ms. Begay be called to the phone if she can get on to clarify. I don't want to send it out if it's not the corrected form. If it's correct, then of course I'll immediately send it out.
Okay, so you have not been in contact with Ms. Begay yet, right?
I did send her something earlier, maybe about an hour ago, something like that. And she said it looked good, everything looked correct, but then additional budget forms were sent. And so I just want to double check that the budget forms that she sent don't affect the dollar amount in the new Exhibit A that she previously sent to me. So that's the reason I feel the need to just check with her one last time before I send the amendments to avoid any confusion.
Akishina, Akihala, Ms. Tapahi. Okay, one question I have. Yesterday during the motion to table, the timeline given had been up to today, but we are also meeting again on August 1st in the morning to take care of the fixed cost budget legislation, along with some smaller exhibits that need to be added to the other legislation. This one seems like it's in that category where it just needs a simple vote to amend and then to add. Therefore, my question is would it be out of order or against any rules that to move this, to keep this as tabled until Monday?
Mr. Chair, this is Lurleen. I think that would be fine. Was a formal vote done to take this up off the table at this point?
No, I have not. I wanted to defer. Make sure that everything was in order first before we took it off the ask the committee to take it off the table, because otherwise, if everything wasn't ready, then like the way it is now, then we would need to find an alternative, which is to move it to Monday. Hold it off till Monday.
Okay.
I would think that would be the best thing to do at this point. I have not received a reply email from Controller Begay. I imagine she might be on another call right now since we're sort of doing all these budget legislations at once. But certainly, I'm sure she will respond by Monday to have the amendment ready by Monday.
Okay, because reason why is if I take it off the table and it's not ready, then we can't table it again, because otherwise we end up killing the bill. So with that, Budget and Finance Committee members, Kodona, while we're on here, if there are no objections, we'll keep this legislation tabled until Monday, when all the exhibits are ready for discussion before the Budget and Finance Committee. Peggy?
I'll motion.
Hold on. If there's no formal motion, it's already motion. There's already a motion. It's already tabled. So right now it's still under table status. So Peggy?
Okay, thank you, Chair. I've texted to the committee. I've got concerns about the Monday budget hearing. Now we're kind of like loading it up. We've got the OMB legislation that's tabled to that. Fixed cost was supposed to be the main discussion that day. It is 1 o'clock and we still have time to consider this legislation if you want to take a break. But the other thing is, we only have up to 10 o'clock and then we do the special meeting on August 1st. And so unless you just recess and then reconvene after the special meeting is over, then you can start up and finish your budget hearing if you wanted to. That's the other alternative that you might have available on Monday. But I did see that the amendment language, and I sent it to the committee, what Laureline is discussing. And so I guess if you want to keep it tabled, that's your prerogative too. But I'm just concerned about the time. I was suggesting that maybe we could start at 7:30 to cover everything that we need to with fixed costs. And then we can, recall those two legislations back and take action before 10 o'clock. I don't know, if you want to be in a time crunch like that. I'm just throwing that out there, Chair.
Peggy, has the memo for Monday morning been signed?
I haven't seen any results yet from the speaker's office on that one, but we did get it signed this morning.
by,
We got it done by Jadeja Amber Crotty, because I heard that she got the approval to go ahead and sign things on your behalf while she was here.
okay. Well, not on my behalf. She was signing as a co-sponsor.
Okay, so Beaker, it just got in, is what I
Okay.
was informed.
Okay, the reason why I was asking is because if I still needed to sign that memo, I'm still sitting at home, and the longer I sit here, the longer that Monday morning might not happen. That's why. But with that, I'll leave it up to the committee. Budget and Finance Committee. We are at the tail end of our agenda, and therefore we do have one more business to take care of, which is a table legislation for 142-22. But then again, listening to the conversations that we had, it'll be up to the committee if they wish to do a revisit, final recommendation, or adjourn.
Chair,
Mr.
this is
Chair,
Delegate Brown.
Delegate Nathaniel Brown.
Yeah. Can address legislation 142 today. So on Monday, we're not bombarded and trying to react to last minute, long, detailed conversation. If we can recess, I don't know how much time Ms. Tabaha would need, maybe an hour, and complete. It's 1:12 in the afternoon. So, yeah.
Chair Helio, this is Peggy.
Hold on, please hold on. I'm still addressing the committee. Please don't interrupt. Okay, thank you, Ms. Shananta, Delegate Nathaniel Brown, for your recommendation. And then therefore, the recommendation by Shananta Delegate Nathaniel Brown is to continue to address legislation 142-22, and for reasons being that we need to free up the time we have on Monday. And so therefore it's just a really quick amendment. So Ms. Tapahi, 1 hour, would that be sufficient for you?
thank you, Mr. Chair. That should be. I believe I'll try to make some phone calls and try to get in touch with Controller Begay. I just need her to verify the dollar figures, and I think she will probably respond. If I don't hear from her, I'll make every effort to go through each of her documents that she sent to calculate everything to make sure that the final dollar amount shown on the replacement exhibit is correct. I'll sort of just do the calculations myself, although I have a hard time balancing my checkbook, but I'll do my best. I'll have someone help me.
Okay, Mr. Pai, thank you for all your help. And Ms. Controller Begay, once we call this legislation back to the table and back into record, she would have to be there to address any other further questions that needs to happen. So I'm hoping that one of her staff is listening in. Office of the Controller staff, is there somebody from Office of the Controller?
Hi, good afternoon, Chair Henya. Jimmy from Investments here.
Okay, Mr. Jimmy, thank you for responding. I'm just seeing you right now on the screen here. So really contact Mr. Gay and yourself, and be in contact with Mr. Pahi at Office Legislative Council to get the amendment straightened out so we can address it when we come back on record.
Yes, sir. Okay. Acting Controller, she's trying to link in right now. So I'll let her inform her of your request.
Okay, Shannon, we'll be on recess. It's 1:15, and we'll come back at 2:15. Have a good lunch, and we'll come back.
Chair Henio, this is Donovan.
Donovan?
Hi. The memo for Monday has been signed, and it's going through progress right now.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for that information.
Yeah.
Chair Henio.
Peggy?
Thank you. It's good that we're continuing with this. discussion because Rule 18, if you look at it for tabling motion, on H, it says, any legislation not taken up from the table in the manner provided herein or at the time directed by the committee shall be deemed to have expired and shall be eliminated from the
Peggy,
agenda of the
we
committee.
are in recess right now, so we'll be coming back to this legislation today.
Yes, and that's just
We are in recess.
why it's good that we're going forward with it. Thank you. Just advising. So we're meeting back at 2:16, 1 hour from now, everyone. We're on recess.
Okay, thank you, Shema. Thank you for advising. I really do appreciate your help. That's really helpful for myself. Yeah.
Well, you're welcome.